Hello, everybody. Appreciate y'all taking the time to show up and spend some time together, and hopefully there's a lot that you can get out of this. What my intention is with this talk is to really encourage you to see how when you maximize your health, that's actually going to allow you to, or optimize your health, that's going to allow you to really maximize your business. Oftentimes, as entrepreneurs, I make up that we get caught up in this whirlwind where, number one, we think about taking care of everybody and anybody else, especially clients, yet we forget to take care of ourselves in the process. And over time, this might lead to burnout, dissatisfaction, or maybe even more than that, some type of health complications, right? So before I go too deeply into what I do, I would love to first talk about why you can too. My inspiration for my work and how I show up in life stems from my relationship with my mom. So this is my mom, Vicky. This is just after I had graduated from Georgetown University. My mom was my rock my entire life growing up. She was a single mother, took care of my brother, took care of me. And in that process, I didn't realize until I was an adult that she wasn't taking care of herself in the process. So, shortly after this picture was taken, I moved back to South Florida from DC. I was living at home, starting my professional journey in the corporate world. And my mom always wanted to just do all these things for me. She wanted to clean for me. She wanted to cook for me. She wanted to do any and everything. And at that time, I looked at it that she was babying me, right? That she wasn't allowing me to be the man that I had grown up to be during those last 4 years when I was at Georgetown. So because of this, and really because of my own way of being, this really had us have a rocky relationship, right? Now, my mom, she wasn't the most healthy person, and she suffered from many of the common Western lifestyle diseases that we see today. She was obese. She was a type 2 diabetic. She was addicted to her opioid medication. She had a victim mentality, and she also had a fixed mindset. So if you fast forward a couple years, I got to the point where I realized corporate life wasn't for me, and I became an entrepreneur just like everyone else here. And during that process, I became a certified personal trainer. I was a sports performance coach, and I was also a nutrition coach. During that process, I had lost 40 pounds myself. I had transformed the way that I showed up in life. And I really could see wow, there's so much I can do to help my mom change, right? But what was missing is that I was never meeting my mom where she was at. It was always, hey, you need to eat like this. You need to exercise like this. You need to only do these types of workouts. It was never me meeting her where she was at and seeing what she actually wanted to do. My life changed forever in May of 2015. I was sitting next to my mom as she was on her deathbed. And the way she got there was because she decided to get a surgery that she wasn't a healthy enough candidate to get. Years in the past, she had gotten gastric bypass surgery, which is where they essentially staple your stomach, make it smaller so that you can't ingest as much food, and over time, you'll lose weight. So after many years, my mom did finally lose that weight. But because she had some excess skin, she was very self-conscious about how she looked, and she wasn't confident about who she was. So to her, the solution was going to be to have this surgery. Now, she went to many doctors all throughout South Florida, and all of them told her, hey, Vicky, you are not a healthy enough candidate to get this type of surgery. So essentially, she kept trying to find another doctor, and over time, she found a doctor who basically told her, hey, Vicky, you have a hernia that I need to repair. And the only way that I can repair that hernia is by removing the excess skin from your midsection. So to my mom, this was exactly what she wanted. This was perfect. She found the loophole. The day before she was set to have that surgery, I was at her house just hanging out, and she was having second thoughts. I'm not sure if I want the surgery. I'm feeling nervous about it. for me, I was like, oh, this is my chance. You don't need it. Don't do it. We'll figure this out. I have all the answers. We'll make it better. Ultimately, she decided that, no, I'm going to have the surgery anyways. And this led to her and I getting into a huge argument. And that argument was the last conversation I ever had with my mom. She went in, she got the surgery. She made it out of the surgery at first. And she called some people and she was complaining of feeling a little out of breath. Like she couldn't quite catch her breath since she got out of the surgery. Over some time, she went into this episode in the hospital where she couldn't breathe. The hospital quickly induced her into a coma. They transferred her to another hospital. They gave her a tracheometry, so put her on a breathing machine, a breathing apparatus. And she essentially slowly died over the course of 12 weeks. During one of the many visits, when I visited her during those 12 weeks, I felt like I could connect with her. She was in a coma, so she wasn't really all there. Her eyes were open, but she wasn't there. But there was one specific moment where I did feel us connect, and I could feel that she was there. And at that moment, I just started bawling, crying. I just apologized for just how crappy I acted towards her those past 4 years. I was apologizing for not loving her unconditionally. I was apologizing for not being the son that she always loved, right? And, it really shifted my life. Once my mom passed away, I had to take a big step back and look at myself and see, how is it that I can improve from this? At that time, before I did a lot of my personal development work, I was a very stoic person. I was very serious, head was always up. Like if I had any emotions going on, you would never know it. A lot of things that I feel like, or at least I make up, men are conditioned to do in this society. So once she passed away, I realized I was missing the skill set to truly meet somebody where they're at. This led me on a long personal development journey, which I'm still on now. And within that journey, I stumbled across a life coaching certification that essentially was going to give me the skills to really actively listen, understand where people are coming from, and truly meet them where they're at. What I didn't realize was going to happen during that whole entire life coaching certification is that it was actually going to give me the opportunity to be coached by other people. And this was the first time I feel like ever in my life that because I was around so many like-minded people and I truly felt comfortable, I was able to be open and vulnerable and actually talk about my mom's death, all of my limiting beliefs, all of the ineffective habits that I have, all of the just self-defeating mindsets that I had accumulated over my, at that time, 27 years of life. And it literally changed me. And I started to realize how much of a tool and really a superpower vulnerability, openness, and connection is. And when I think about this group, we are creators for connection, and we understand how important the work that we do is. And what I've realized, and what I think is so important for every single person in this room, is to learn the lesson that my mom never learned. And that is to fill your cup up first before you try to fill up someone else's cup. Now, why is that important? We kind of, at least I we come up in this society where we're supposed to be putting ourselves to the side. We're martyrs for whatever cause is important. And over time, what that turns into is us not taking care of our health physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. So based off my learning and just everything I started diving into, I came across a gentleman named Paul Chek. And I don't know if you know Paul Chek, but he is just an incredible man when it comes to all things holistic health. And one of the frameworks that he has, and that I'm one of his students, that I follow, is the 4 doctors. And what the 4 doctors are, these are your internal doctors that you have within yourself that if you adhere to it and you listen to it, you can actually truly thrive in all aspects of your life. So what I want to do here is briefly talk about all 4 of these doctors and give you some tools and maybe even build some awareness on where you lie right now in maybe listening to these doctors or not listening to these doctors. So the first one we have is Dr. Happiness, right? Dr. Happiness is literally what it says. It is all of the things that truly make you happy in your life. A lot of us being entrepreneurs, what makes us happy is serving others, right? Being able to maybe help that person with their brand or shoot that content for them or get them that coaching in their life that's going to transform them. But the only way we can actually do that effectively, consistently, and sustainably is if we're focusing on our own happiness. And when we talk about happiness, or how I'm going to use it, it really truly comes down to your values. And there's 3 different sets of values. We have our personal values, our career values, and our relationship values. So when we talk about personal values, these are all the things that make you who you are. These are your needs that satisfy you physically. How much exercise do you need? What type of food do you need, right? What type of quiet time do you need for introspection, reflection, rest? And then it is also all of your needs in terms of what are the things that you need to do on a day-to-day basis outside of your work that truly brings fulfillment to you. And the reason why I start with personal values first is that we have to fill up our own cup before we can truly show up powerfully in the relationships that we have with other people, whether that's work relationships or romantic relationships, and also in our career. How can we do the work that we truly want to do if we don't have the energy to do it? How can we show up to work and be able to impact one person, hundreds of people, thousands, millions of people if we're not impacting ourselves first? So I want you to reflect a little bit right now and think about, how are you showing up for yourself and your own personal needs? It's one thing I want you to think about. And I wrote down here, it is only when your lifestyle is in alignment with your values will you truly be happy. Your values are your North Star. It's what you follow every single day to ensure that you are living in accordance to who you want to be. And if your values are in check, I guarantee you the way that you experience life is going to be at the highest level that you've ever seen. Then we got Dr. Diet. So Dr. Diet essentially gives you all the information you need to create the energy to go out in the world and do what it is that you do. At the end of the day, food is information. When it comes to my own philosophies about food, I'm not attached to a specific diet. I don't care if somebody is paleo, if someone is vegan, if someone follows a vegetarian diet. But what I think is very, very important is understanding that the quality of the food is going to dictate how our body uses it. A lot of our energy is literally focused on or based on the food that we eat. But what the problem is many times is most people want to shop for their food like they shop for gas prices. It's just like, yo, which one's the cheapest? Well, if Winn-Dixie has it for 37 cents cheaper, well, I'm going to Winn-Dixie because it's less money. But we get to actually change our relationship with food and understanding that if we can start introducing more organic whole foods. When I say whole foods, I don't mean the grocery store, they're great too, but just real food that just comes from the earth, right? Someone either had to hunt it down, you could grow it, right? You would pick it, not like Frito-Lays, right? I don't know where the Frito-Lays tree is, but if y'all do, y'all let me know. And we got to get rid of the sad crap. So this is actually, so SAD is the standard American diet, right? Which is really based on a lot of refined carbohydrates, additives, and preservatives at the end of the day. That's what the crap is. Now, I'm not here to judge anybody on their food choices. But what I am here to do is to bring awareness on how your food choices are going to dictate how your energy is. Your body, or Dr. Diet, is always going to let you know how food is either helping you or hurting you. If you eat something and you notice that you kind of feel like a little itchy, that's probably some type of food intolerance right there. If you eat something and you get bloated, you're gassy, that's your stomach getting inflamed, letting you know like, hey, like this food is not good for me. It's not working for me. So I want to invite you to start really listening to your body, because your body is always talking to you. But oftentimes, because we're so busy with our lives and wanting to create and do so many things for others, maybe we're not listening to actually what's going on in our body and what it's trying to tell us. And then I have here, water is life. Water, and I share this with everybody. I believe every single person, if they focus on getting enough good quality water in, and when I say good quality, to the best that you can afford, what fits your budget, but making sure that it's at least purified. If you can get spring water, get spring water. But essentially refraining from only drinking water from the tap, right? And then not only do we want to think about the quality of the water, but the amount is so important. And you want to think, however amount that you weigh, whatever your weight is, you want to drink half of your body weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you want to be getting 100 ounces of water in every single day. Water is really important for two main reasons. One, water helps us detoxify. When we have water in our system, especially at a cellular level, that's what's flushing all the things that we need to move out of our body. It happens through water. And then the second thing it does, it hydrates us. There's so many people that I talk to that may suffer from headaches, and it gets knocked out right away, right when they start drinking enough water. And again, this is one of these things where it just really comes down to being present and aware. How much water am I drinking? If you're not sure how much water you're drinking, I would advise you to start now just calculating, seeing how much it is. Get a water bottle that you fill up consistently, know how many times you fill it up and drink it, and see what's the correlation between the amount of water you drink and how you feel. Most people don't have a Tylenol deficiency. That's not why they're getting headaches, right? Not because they're not getting enough Advil in their system. It's usually because they're not having enough water. So if you get one thing from this whole entire presentation, drink more water. Drink more water. Dr. Quiet. Dr. Quiet literally helps us recharge and really use our energy in such a way that we can actually go out and do our work, live our dreams. For whatever reason, I feel like we've been conditioned to think that we are machines. We have these beautiful cell phones, these beautiful computers, right? They do all of this computing, they do all these amazing things. But even those things, we got to plug back in and recharge. So why wouldn't we do that for ourselves? I know so many people, and I've been there, that will burn themselves out to the bone and then literally like just fall asleep with like their notepad or like their computer in their lap. And I'll tell you this, if you can take more time to rest and understand that that rest and that recovery is key, and actually being able to show up every single day and do the work that you're so passionate about, it will literally change how you show up for yourself and your clients. It's so much different. And there's really 3 types of rest that I want you all to think about. I didn't write it here, but I'm going to talk about it. So we have full rest, which is our sleep. Depending on who you are, there's a lot of different sleep science out there. A lot of the science says, 7 to 8 hours, somewhere around that. It's really about the amount of hours, but even more so, getting asleep and staying asleep. If you find yourself that you're waking up in the middle of the night very often and you're interrupting that sleep, it doesn't matter if it's 8, 9 hours if it wasn't straight through and you're not getting into that REM sleep and that deep sleep. But in order to really maximize your sleep, just like most things, it comes with having a routine around it. So some simple things to literally stop doing right now to improve your sleep. 1, eating too close to bedtime. So many clients that I've worked with will literally have their last meal like 20, 30 minutes and then go to sleep. But what happens is when we sleep, that is when we are physically repairing and we're mentally repairing. And if we're eating too close to when we sleep, now our brain and our body is not getting all of the resources that's available to it because it's also using resources to digest food. So if your body's digesting food and is trying to repair the rest of your body, it's not doing any of those things effectively or as efficiently as it could because your body only has so many resources to spread out. So ideally, you'd want to be done eating 3 hours before you go to sleep. And if 3 hours doesn't really fit your lifestyle, if you can get closer to 2, that will make a big difference as well. Another thing that's really going to help you too is blue light exposure. So our phones, our computers, the LED lights that typically most people have as bulbs in their house, all of those are blue light, right? And the way that our body reacts to blue light is as if we're still in the sun. It's as if we're experiencing sunlight. So it confuses our body, and now our body doesn't release the sleep hormone melatonin. I don't know if you've ever heard of melatonin before, but when I ask people that question, the reason why they know is because oh yeah, I supplement with it. And the reason they supplement with it is because they're having trouble sleeping at night. But what happens when you supplement with it is that your body will no longer try to produce it itself. So now you're actually going to have to take more and more and more melatonin over the course of weeks, months, years, just to get you to go to sleep. So when we talk about, melatonin, your body produces it naturally when you have a nightly routine and it's like, oh, okay, we're getting ready for bed. All right, I might as well throw this melatonin out, help you out, and let you go to sleep. So the best you can, add amber lights. I don't know if you've ever seen these little orange light bulbs, but if you can add those to your house and use those at the nighttime, that's gonna help you with your sleep. They have blue light blocking glasses where you can use these glasses that have more of an amber lens to them, that if you're looking at your screen or you're doing whatever you're doing, that's going to allow you to filter out that blue light and get to sleep better. So those are two things that you can add right away that will immensely help you with your sleep at night. So that's total rest. Another rest we have is active rest. So there's gonna be nights, especially as entrepreneurs, where we're working on our craft, we're doing our thing, we get inspired, or I'm going for it, I'm staying up all night, whatever, I get it. I've been there. And what's important is when that does happen, we need to have tools that following day to recover from all of the stress we just put on our body, right? So that's where active rest comes in. So the next day, say you have a typical to-do list, and your to-do list has 3 to 5 things on it. And I'll tell you right now, if you have a to-do list that has over 5 things on it, you are setting yourself up to fail, all right? So say you have your 3 to 5 things, instead of focusing on 5 or even 3, focus on 2. Hey, these are my 2 high-level things that I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna do it as best I can, and I know I'm only gonna have so many resources, I'm only gonna be so sharp, I'm only gonna be so clear because I didn't get a lot of sleep the night before. Let that be a win, get those things done, get to sleep early that next night, and then try to just do better the next day. Again, we're not machines, but we try to act like machines, and it's not effective. And then the last type of rest I want to talk about is passive rest. Passive rest, as opposed to active rest, is completely different from whatever your specific task is. Has anyone ever heard of the Pomodoro method or something like that? So with the Pomodoro method, it's this idea where there's time intervals where you focus on whatever the specific task is, and then you do something completely different, non-work related, to rest, take your mind off of that thing, so that you can then go back to it and be more effective, right? It allows you to stay sharp, it allows you to stay dialed in, right? That's what passive rest is. It's essentially finding something to do outside of your work for a short period of time that's going to allow your brain to refresh. So whether that's reading a book, whether it's meditating, whether it is going for a walk outside, whether it's scrolling on Instagram, as long as that's not work related, all of those things are going to help your brain recover, and then get back to whatever it needs to do at that specific time. So I find that Dr. Quiet is the one that's most often ignored, and especially with entrepreneurs and creatives. Because it's this idea that like, all right, I'm gonna work, and then once I have the clients, or once I have the money, or once I have whatever external thing, then I'm gonna be happy. Then I'm gonna be satisfied. Then I'm gonna take my foot off the pedal. Where in reality, the only way you're gonna be able to sustainably and consistently run your business is by taking the time to rest and understanding that that is not unproductive, it's actually necessary. Because when you rest and you recover and you're the best version of yourself and you have a ton of energy, that's what's gonna allow you to do your job at the highest level and essentially have happy clients, happy customers, and making a big impact on the world. And the last doctor we have, Dr. Movement. Now, when we talk about Dr. Movement, a lot of people really just think of it as like, all right, am I getting my CrossFit in? Am I hitting the gym? Am I going crazy with the weights or getting my 3-5 mile run in? That's part of it, but that's not all of it. When we think about movement, movement is so important for the body because that's what allows everything to flow through, right? Dr. Movement works in conjunction with water to help us detoxify. So if we think that we're in a job and we don't get a lot of movement in at our job and we're just sitting down all the time, well, all of the nutrients that gets carried through our bloodstream is actually not getting pumped through effectively. And as a result, everything stalls, right? And we start to feel symptoms from that, right? Our leg might fall asleep, right? That might be a light one. We might get tired. We might get a little anxious, might get a little angsty, all of those things. But understand, an easy way to combat that is to find ways to move during your workday. Like, I love stand-up desks, they're great. But again, if I'm at my stand-up desk and I'm just standing like this, just typing away with bad posture and I'm just sitting there, it's just as bad as a chair, right? So you wanna understand that constant, consistent movement is so important. And then I have here how important breathing is, right? Literally, when we stop breathing, life is done at the end of the day. And breathing's such an important, effective tool because we're doing it all the time anyways. So when we're able to focus on our breath and we understand how important our breath is in either calming us down, or we can even use it to hype us up and like maybe replace like that 4th, 5th cup of coffee if we want to, right? Breathing can be a powerful tool here. Oftentimes, our breath is what's letting us know if we're safe or we're in trouble. So when we think about sitting, and then we start to think about sitting with bad posture, if my posture is bad and my chin is out, my shoulders start to roll forward this way, now all of my organs are compressed. And with this compression, is actually going to stop effective airflow through the body. Now, what does that signal tell the body? It actually tells our body that we are in trouble. Because way back in the day, if we think of our ancestors, we would tap into that sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight nervous system, when our breath was really shallow. Because we heard some rustling in the bushes, we weren't going to sit there and investigate and see if it was a saber-toothed tiger or not. Like, nah, we're going to dip and be up out of there, right? But that still shows up in our day-to-day life every time we hear a ping on the phone, every time we get some type of alert from Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it may be. That's the same type of stress that we used to experience way back. And then if we're too grounded in that sympathetic, that fight or flight, that leads to a host of physical and mental complications and symptoms. A lot of these lifestyle diseases that we see, whether it's from heart disease, whether it's high blood pressure, whether it's cancer, all of these different things, a lot of that can be related to our overall stress levels, too much cortisol being in our system, and ultimately having too much inflammation, constant chronic inflammation in the body. But an easy way to tell our body that we're safe is by breathing. But not just a little shallow breath, but really big, deep breathing. So what I want to invite everyone to do, we'll do a little exercise real quick, but nothing too crazy. I want to introduce you all to the 4-6-8 breath. And this is a breath where just in literally 3 minutes, it can completely shift your energy and how you're feeling. So all you're going to do here for the 4-6-8 breath, it's a 4-second inhale, a 6-second hold, followed by a 8-second exhale. And you want to be counting in your head as you're doing this breath. So if you feel comfortable enough, I think we're all friends here. If you feel comfortable enough, close your eyes. And I want you to simply start breathing. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your bottom in the chair. Drop those shoulders away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. And I want you to just inhale for a 4 count. Once you get to that 4, you're going to hold it for 6. And then you are going to slowly exhale for 8. And we're going to continue here for 2 more minutes. And slowly start to bring your awareness back to your body. Wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers. Welcome back, welcome back. Does anyone want to share on like how they're feeling or how that experience was for them? What's that?
It was hard.
It was hard, right? Yeah, it can be. It can be for sure. I love that. Providing clarity in that mental space, feeling that oxygen get to the brain. I love it. You get one more share?
Like the first minute, you're just kind of getting into it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't feel anything yet, but like by the second or third minute, that's when I really started to like zone in.
Yeah.
Felt good.
It's amazing. That's amazing.
I don't do that enough at all.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Most of us don't. Like, we're not taught that. It's not part of our workplace culture, right? It's not something we just see on TV all the time. So I get it, right? Understand this is a tool that you can take with you forever. And understand, that's what I love about the breath. Breath is free. One of the few things we got left that's free these days, right? We don't got to pay for it. But we got our breath. And whenever you are feeling times where you are feeling anxious, you're a little stressed, you're feeling overwhelmed, take that second to come back to the breath and shift from that sympathetic back to that parasympathetic state. It's a powerful tool. And then the last thing I want to touch on with Dr. Movement is working in versus working out. So majority of us know what working out is, right? At the end of the day, working out is any type of movement that we do that expends energy, right? Working in is literally the opposite. These are movements or techniques that we do to actually bring more energy to the body. And again, it's not something that we're taught. And I know a lot of people who love to combat stress through vigorous exercise. It's like, yo, I'm stressed out, I'm gonna go for that run. I'm gonna get that runner's high and I'm gonna forget about whatever I have in this moment. Or I'm super stressed out, I'm frustrated, I'm gonna hit the punching bag, I'm gonna let all that stuff out, right? And I'm here to tell you that that is not sustainable or effective over the long haul. Why? At the end of the day, working out is stress. It's a stressful thing. The way that we recover from exercise and working out and how our muscles get bigger or how we get a bigger lung capacity or whatever it is, that's because we recovered from this trauma that we put our body through. But what ends up happening is the body doesn't know the difference between experiencing emotional stress or physical stress. At the end of the day, stress is just this big bucket. So what ends up happening is if you are consistently trying to exercise and work out in order to combat your stress, again, that's going to lead to injuries. It's going to lead to a bunch of other symptoms like being lethargic, not having energy, body aches, all of these different types of things. So something I want to introduce you to is the concept of working in. And there's ways to work in that you've probably have done, you just never heard it coined that way. An easy way to work in is to go outside for a walk. If y'all follow me on Instagram, you know I love to speed walk. Speed walking is working out, all right? But
Sorry, and I have to interrupt you because I highly recommend that you watch some speed walking videos. It's so good. Very inspirational.
I do what I can. So working in would actually be like a slow, chill walk in the park, right? A slow little sunset walk on the beach, if you will, right? Because what that does is it's allowing your body to still move and to pump, but it's actually letting what we'll call life force energy start to build up. I don't know if y'all ever heard of like chi or prana or any of these like Eastern type of, comes from Eastern medicine, Eastern mythology. But essentially we all have a certain amount of life force in us, right? But when we're constantly working out, we're constantly thinking, we're constantly working, we're doing all those things, we are literally spending all of our life force energy, and we need to bring it back in, and there's a way we can do it through movement. So I don't know if anyone's ever done any type of Tai Chi, Qigong, any of these types of martial arts from the East, but these are slow, rhythmic movements where you are breathing and moving at the same time that allow you to get more energy to the body. I don't know if any of y'all ever seen Karate Kid, but like the wax on, wax off, you know what I'm saying? You see Miyagi just chilling by the bamboo, like he's getting his Tai Chi and getting his life force up. So understand that there is a distinction between working in and working out. And I want to invite you to look into your own life and see like how often are you working out really hard and you're doing that right after a super tough work day or a bunch of tough work days, or after being super stressed from an argument or whatever it may be. Understand, your body's gonna tell you if you're ready to work out or if you need to work in. And it's not being soft or selling out if you know that you can't do something and you choose to do something proactive that's gonna bring you energy anyways. So these are a brief overview of all the 4 doctors. There's much more that goes into all of these things. But I want you to understand that all of these things work synergistically. When you focus on all 4 doctors at the same time, it is going to increase this compound effect where your overall health just starts to shoot to a whole nother level. Yes, you can focus on one thing at a time. That's going to have an impact too. But it's going to be of the most advantage by working on all of them. So get very clear on what your values are when we're talking about Dr. Happiness. I know Sten talked about this last time when we met, being able to say no to certain things and having really clear, strong boundaries around your values. Because when you have a no and you have these strong boundaries, it makes it very easy to say yes to the things that really matter and to say yes to yourself and have the energy to do all the things that you want to do in your life. When it comes to Dr. Diet, check in, just how much processed foods are you getting? Are you getting a lot of these processed vegetable oils, the soybean oils? Are you getting a lot of, that just hides in just a lot of food? And I get it because, it's very inexpensive. And at the end of the day, if someone's a business, they're in the business to make money. Like, you need to make money to have a business. Wasn't impressed. So let's make sure that we're just focusing on our food, that we're getting enough water in every single day. And then when it comes to Dr. Quiet, take some time to chill, get your sleep in, right? Rest, meditate, breathe, draw, color, like take some pictures, whatever you like to do. Go do some stuff to relax. And when it comes to Dr. Movement, focus on your breath. When you're in the middle of a work day and you know you've been sitting for a long time, build the awareness to catch yourself in that moment, stand up, get a 5-minute walk in, and understand that that 5-minute walk is going to have so many benefits to the body and the mind and the spirit all at the same time. So because of the work that I've seen, the impact that my mom's death had on me and my work, it really inspired me to create Fulfillment Express. Fulfillment Express is actually my one-on-one 12-week online coaching program where essentially I meet people where they're at in helping them achieve the goals that they want to achieve. We very much focus on the 4 doctors, and we focus on getting extremely clear on what does your dream life look like? What does your 10 life look like? We're focusing on career, we're focusing on health, your personal relationships, your community involvement, all of the things that are extremely important to you, because I love work and I love the work that I do. And I understand that work is just one domain of my life. And just like all of you, and I've had conversations with many of you, I know you all have other things outside of your work that you're very passionate about, that you love to do. And it's important that you are making the conscious time and effort to go do those things as well. And as a creative, I want to invite all of you to understand that the better that you take care of yourself, the better you're going to be able to make your impact in the world. And what I have for our CFC members is I have a $500 discount off of the program if anyone is interested in it. And in my referral program that I really love, if you know anybody who may benefit from this type of work, who is looking to essentially create their ideal balance of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health in their life, I would love you to connect them with me. And if one of your referrals ends up signing up for a program, you have 3 choices. You can either get a $500, I'll write a check right to you. You can do whatever you want with that $500. You can either give that $500 back to the person that you referred so they're getting a discount on their program, or I will donate $500 in your name to the cause of your choice, whatever that cause is. So I appreciate the time. I appreciate all of you taking the time to show up for yourselves and to be here and to be conscious creators and be creating so many amazing things for other people. The one lesson I learned from my mom, she was such a giver, and she always wanted to give to me, my brother, and everyone else around her. But what was missing is that she would never give to herself first. And because of that, she always needed external validation. She was always chasing that next way to get some type of, really just a thank you from somebody or to impress somebody, where in reality, she already had everything she needed in herself. So take the time to fill your own cup, take the time to do the things you love, and understand that that's going to allow you to show up powerfully in your business. Appreciate you.